Hi again, everybody. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people. And today with me, I have a very interesting person. Her name is Joan Norton. Joni, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm very, very honored to be thought of as interesting.
Of course, you're very interesting. I was looking at your resume. You have a long list of things that you do that I'd like, to talk a little bit about.
Okay.
All these things. And I don't know, won't have them in any certain order. So let's just start now. I know you're a greeter at the Raisin Family Funeral Home.
Yes, I am.
Tell us how you got into that and what exactly do you do at that position?
When I retired from a full-time job, I know Joe and Dana Raisin, and always found them to be very compassionate, having had family members pass away and gone there. And I just thought this would be something I would like to represent because of their compassion, and I feel very compassionate. So what I mainly do is greet people at the door and direct them, but you find yourself, especially in Conneaut, you know so many people, you find yourself comforting people that come in the door and giving them hugs, and it's just a really meaningful job. I really enjoy it.
You are the perfect person for that because
thank
you are, you just are. You're perfect at it. I mean, I've gone there and you do a tremendous job of greeting the people and offering condolences and everything to those people. So you've been there how long?
About 3 years.
3 years at Raisins. Okay. Good people, like you say.
They are. They're really good. Yeah, I started just briefly before I retired and then after retirement. So I've been retired since 2013, so it's roughly 3.
And now their son Jeff is getting involved in there, right?
Yes. Oh, Jeff is really a great guy. He brings a lot to the table. He's got so many ideas, and he's going to keep his dad on his toes. He will.
A super kid.
Yeah, he is.
Quiet.
Great.
Very quiet, but super.
Yep, he is.
Super kid. Currently, you're on the Conneaut School Board.
Yes.
Are you the president of the board right now?
Yes, it's my privilege to be the president this current year.
Now, do you guys rotate that as to who becomes the president, or is that voted
Actually,
on?
We vote. We do vote. We try to change it up every year. I think a couple people have had it for more than 1 year, especially when new people came on to the board and were uncertain of the procedures. They felt a little uncomfortable taking maybe on the task, so someone might keep it for 2 years. But I am so happy that I got to be the president this year because my oldest granddaughter, Haley, graduated, and I got to hand her her diploma.
I remember
That was a highlight of my year.
Oh, that had to be just,
It was.
had to give you goosebumps.
Really did. It was like, I didn't plan that, and it just came up, and I thought, you gotta be kidding me. And also, I graduated from leadership this year, so I'm a 2016 graduate, as she is. So that was also another thing I thought was very cool for the 2016 school year.
Absolutely. I see, I do have that down there. June 3rd, you graduated as leadership of Ashtabula County. We'll talk a little bit about that, but let's stay with the school board for a minute. So you've been with them how long?
This is my 5th year.
5th year, and I think my opinion, one of the best things to come out of your reign in the school board was the hiring of this fantastic superintendent we have, Michael Notar. Speak a little bit about Michael, what you know about him, what you think about him, and all that kind of.
I think he seems so genuinely wanting to make a big difference in our community, he's all about the kids. That's the bottom line.
That's what Cindy and I say. We've had him on the show twice, and that's the first thing he always mentions is the kids.
And he stays true to that because, everything he does is geared that way. There's so many state mandates and everything that have to be followed, and he finds a way to try to make things work so that the kids will benefit. So, and him introducing that mentorship program this year, that was something I thought was a really great idea because there's basically in addition to trying to teach the kids possibly something that you could pass on, you get to know them, you find out about their lives, and maybe they don't have an adult or a trusted person to talk to, and if it starts out like in 9th grade or 6th grade or whatever grade, but if it continues with one person over the years, they really can develop a rapport. So a lot of the teachers didn't exactly know what to do this first year, I think, but he's trying to give them a little direction in how that program can really be beneficial again to the kids. So
And this past school season, he's done double duty, filled in as a principal for a couple of months at Lakeshore Primary.
Right, he's trying to keep everybody on an even keel, and he's willing to pitch in where he can, which I think is really great.
So who are the other board members now?
Well, we have Chris Newcomb and Diana McGreath. She was DePoe McGreath in the past year. Suzanne Bernardini and Mike Kennedy.
And how often do you guys meet?
We meet every month, but sometimes we meet more often. We meet with a joint meeting with City Council twice a year, or 3 times a year. Take that back, 3 times. And there are times that, for instance, when the superintendent search was going on, we met more often. If there's something that is necessary to discuss and we need further information, we may meet more often than once a month, but at the very minimum, once a month. But that's the scheduled meeting. In addition to that, we sometimes have school tours or try to participate when they're doing events at the schools, just to be, show our support for the kids too. So.
Now, do you meet during the summer months as well
Yes.
at the school board?
In fact, our meeting is this week, Wednesday. At 5 o'clock.
What's some of the biggest challenges the school board are facing currently?
Well, currently, there's been discussion, and it has been ongoing, about a levy coming up, hopefully, in 2017. We've tried to hold off, and initially, when I first came on the board, there was talk of a levy, and through creative, we have a great treasurer, and she seems to find different avenues, and through creative ideas, sometimes not renewing teachers if they're absorbed by attrition. Sometimes the necessity to not hire has allowed the funds to stay in place, but talking about having a levy maybe in 2017, simply because it's coming to that point. So that's one of the biggest fears we have, because we want people to understand how important it is and how well we try to manage the funds so that we don't have to do that. But when it comes, when push comes to shove and we need that, we're hoping we have the support of the community.
Of course, let's be honest, nobody likes levies, but when's the last time Conneaut schools have really had a levy?
We did talk about that, and I don't remember.
It has been a
honest,
while.
It has been a long while.
It has been a while.
And as I say, you try to hold off as long as you can, but then there comes a point where it's getting really kind of scary, so it's going to become a necessity, and we're just really hoping to show, with good management of the money, that they'll feel that we're good stewards of the money, and trust that a levy is necessary, or it wouldn't be on the ballot. So that's one of the biggest issues, I'd say.
Will we have a levy campaign team when we get close to that time?
Yes, I believe that should start in the fall. I would think we have been discussing, weekly, not weekly, but just minimally how that would begin, but it should begin this fall, because they would like to put it on the spring, and if it doesn't pass in the spring, have the availability of doing it again in the fall. So I've not really been part of a campaign before with the school system, so I'm kind of interested in how this all works. But I guess they have they have phone campaigns, and they get the teachers involved, and then that, I think, really spreads through the community with, as you say, beginning some campaigning.
Are school board meetings open to the public? Can
Yes.
anybody go to them?
Yes, they are able to go to those, and you can speak if you sign up before the meeting begins.
Do you have to let somebody know you're coming, or you could just come that day?
You can just come that day.
And where are they held at?
They're held currently at the high school and the library. We used to have them at the board office when it was at Southeast, and the board office has moved over to the middle school, and we just found it to be a central location at the high school. And since the board office closed at Southeast, that's where they've been held.
And obviously, you like being on the school board.
Yes, I do. I really do enjoy
You're a
it.
person that likes challenges. And like you say, with the levy, that will be a big challenge.
Will be. And I really enjoy, the thing I enjoy about the school board is there are people on the school board who really understand the school inner workings, and I'm not as adept at that kind of information all the time, but I can bring maybe other thoughts to the table, and when you listen to their ideas and then you bring your ideas, that's what I really like. When we talk and bring up ideas and see how we can mesh them together. Or maybe I bring up one thought and it's not that great of an idea, but it perks somebody else's, imagination, and they can say, hey, you know what though, with that, maybe we could do this, and trying to come up with ideas to just to solve issues. That's what I really like about being on a board.
Mm-hmm. Now, when this levy comes about, will the school board kind of look at demographics as to what group to focus on, or will be just hoping it will be general?
I think it will be general. They're trying to just show how important our kids are and trying to involve, like so many, I'm a grandparent. I don't have kids in school anymore, but I do have grandkids. So I don't think they're really going to focus on any one demographic. I think it'll be citywide, just trying to make sure that people know that our schools are so important to our whole community, not just to the children. It is important to the whole community, because what comes out of that school is going to be working in our community if we can keep them here, if we can develop a base for learning for them, and possibly maybe creating an environment that they want to stay here. Just making our schools, just making them a safe place for the kids. I think people realize that it's important, that there's a lot of value in our school system, whether or not you're a child, a parent, a grandparent, even if you don't have any children. The schools are a really big, important piece of the puzzle of our city.
Education. Yep, it is about education. You mentioned grandmother, and you are a wonderful grandmother, by the way. Those grandchildren are dolls when I see them in church.
Thank you.
They are such dolls. One more thing on the school board. Now, do you guys, I'm sure you do, ever disagree on anything?
Yes, we do.
And then is that where the president has to come in, or?
No, it's always a vote. If there's something that we need to vote on, but there's a lot of discussion. But again, that's where sometimes the discussion,
There's nothing wrong with disagreeing,
no,
though, is there?
There isn't. And a lot of times, you can feel really strongly about something, but then someone will bring out a good point, and even though you feel so strongly about it, you realize, okay, but bottom line is what is best for the kids, what is best for the schools, maintenance, how we take care of moving forward. So sometimes the discussions can get a little heated, but usually, it's very respectful, very respectful. And if it's something that comes to a vote, it's going to be the highest vote. And it has come to that sometimes. Someone's disappointed that it didn't go the way they thought that it should. And then we see it play out. Were they right, or were we right, or was I wrong, and whatever. But there is some discussion. Usually at the work sessions, there's a lot of discussion. So a lot of times what is seen on television is just the culmination of the work session. So everyone has discussed. We try to bring out if there's some important factors that we learned in the work session that should be noted during the regular televised board meeting. We'll bring up, okay, this is why we did this, But otherwise, if it's just simple, there were little questions about it, we just move along on the agenda, so.
Well, you do a great job there.
Thanks.
Prior to being on the school board, you were with city council, second ward council person. What were some of the differences between being on council, city council, and the school board?
I believe the biggest difference, there's a bigger time commitment. I think there's a lot more on city council that evolves for each individual on council, because in addition to your post as the ward person, then you have different committees, and you head a committee, and there's a lot more involvement, because then you may be participating on another committee even though you're not heading that committee. So there's so many more meetings involved, I believe, in that regard. And it's very similar though in the ideas of discussing what's best for the city, and that's a hard one, because
I'm sure.
You have elected people, and they're trying to represent people that are like-minded, and then people get upset sometimes with them, but they're really trying to do the best they can.
What were some of your challenges when you were on city council?
Well, we had talked about rental. I remember we were talking about having rental, checking the rentals. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. They did come up with more like, I think now isn't there something in place for rental investigations.
Rental property or?
Yeah, for the rental property, like the checks and everything, you have to have it inspected. Inspections, that's the word I'm looking for. We were trying to get something of that nature, and it didn't fly at that time. But it's just because you see so many people that are in dire need, and you try to figure out ways to help them. That was one of the big deals. But there are a lot of rules that are already on the book, but it has to be reported. And we were trying to go beyond that to try to help people that are just having problems with their rentals and not being taken care of properly, as just sort of neglected. Because we have a lot of, I think it's because we have a lot of out-of-town landlords a lot of times, and they are just not hands-on here. That was one of the ideas. And out south, the roads, because of the road issues, there's a lot of ruts in the old dirt roads and everything. And there were ideas coming, trying to figure out better ways to maybe fill the potholes, and they're dusty. And then we've got so many roads out in the south, so that it's...
That's what people don't realize.
I know, there's so many. And the paving
For a
issues.
small town population-wise, we really have a lot of roads and
I know,
land.
we do.
Yeah.
And the sewer pipes and the water pipes, when they got that little thing that goes down and checks them, that there's like a little robot car thing that can see what's going on if there's cracks in the pipes and everything. I thought that was really cool. We got a showing of that at one time. But I thought, how many pipelines we have, and how many... I sure wouldn't want to be those guys out there working on the roads when pipes crack and it's winter time. And there were a lot of issues, like with the different city departments trying to make sure they have what they need to follow through. And again, money is an issue.
Mm-hmm. How long did you serve on city council?
2 years. 2 years.
Okay. And they were two-year terms? Are they 2-year terms or 4-year terms?
Let's see, it was 2005 to 2007, I think. I think it was 2 years. 2005, I believe, I could be wrong. It's been too long. Because at the time I was going to rerun, but I did not, because I had to go to Erie for work.
I think I remember you saying
So
that.
I couldn't devote that kind of time anymore, so I decided against it.
What made you want to do it?
Well, truth is, when I was a young person and I had my own home and my kids were little, I would be thinking of all the issues around, and I would call all the time and write letters to the editor when Pat Williams was the editor. In fact, he thought I was nagging kind of girl. When he first met me, he even told me, he said, you're the one who writes all those letters. I said, hey, I write them with respect, and I write them when there's an issue. I said, I don't want to sit down and just not see anything taken care of. And I used to say, someday I'm going to run for council. I'd say, someday I'm going to do it because I want to help people, and I would like to see things get done. And I never thought I would really do it. I really didn't. Mm-hmm. And then when my opportunity kind of came along, I thought, I'm going to embrace this and give it a shot. I really, really didn't know if anybody would vote for me. It was pretty exciting.
See, look what you found out.
I know.
2 terms.
I know, it was very exciting.
It was exciting. Would you do it again? If the opportunity came?
I think about it sometimes. I do think about it because I enjoyed it. I thoroughly did. It was a lot of fun, and I really find it fun. Some people don't think that way, but I really liked everybody that...
Even though I'm sure you and others walk away frustrated.
That happens, that does, but I really try to say, you know what, tomorrow's another day, we'll figure it out. I don't like to go away thinking something can't be done, But, yeah, you do come away frustrated a lot of times. But the successes that you have, and when somebody calls you up and says, wow, you're doing a good job, thanks. And you think, really did it? You really think I'm doing a good job? I'm just really trying. That's the key word there, trying all the time. So.
Yeah, it can be a thankless job, too.
Yeah, it can be. Especially if you have your idea, like, again, the rental, when we were talking about doing the rental inspections, there were a lot of people that were so for it and a lot of people so against it. And I'm willing to talk to anybody about it, but I was accosted one time by someone. I was on a walk and they just ripped me up one side and down the other, and I stood right there and said, okay. I said, I really appreciate your input. I tried to be very kind to them, but I felt like really beat up that day. I thought, wow, you just don't know what to do.
Kind of like today, where you got so many people that like the single trash hauling system, and you got so many people that don't. So that's why I say it's like a thankless job. You don't know, which way you really want to go.
And it's so true, because I really love our trash hauler right now. I do. But we don't have recycling. That's not his fault. I think recycling, it's a shame whoever was burning up those recycle. Remember when we had the recycle bins and somebody started firing them or something? That we went there all the time. We loved recycling. Everybody got in the mode. I think a lot of people really got that habit down, and then it's gone. I don't mind the idea of the one hauler. I understand that. It's just I hate to see the little guys go to business. I really hate that. Or just because they can't compete. That's a real tough one.
It is. It's a really tough, and so let's move on.
I didn't have to be involved with the vote. Yay!
Yeah, there you go. Many, many years ago, you taught CCD, which is a Sunday religious education class.
Isn't that how we met?
Yes, I
think it is.
just getting ready to say, you inspired me to become a CCD teacher.
Really?
When you had my son and your daughter, and right after that, then I became a CCD teacher, still am, and I love it very much, and I'm sure you did too.
Yes, I did it for 11 years, and you know how I fell upon it? My daughter Jeannie, her third grade class, they had no teacher, and I went to sign her up, and they said, would you like to teach? And I said, me? You're talking to me? And they said, yeah, would you like to teach it? Well, you get a handbook, you can do it. And I said, well, I've got Jade, though, she's little, I still have her, and they said, well, you can take her to class. So I thought, okay, they covered all the obstacles, and it was a wonderful job, and Father Summers was there, so that was all bonus. So for 11 years, I did that until he retired.
All in the third grade level?
Yes.
All 11 years you were third grade. What was your biggest accomplishment? What did you feel by doing that? What did it do for you spiritually?
I felt that I really would try to zero in on whatever the lesson plan was and talk to them from my heart about fairness. And it's funny how you can take a spin on, as soon as you get the work plan, or the whatever it is, how it's set up for you, you get an idea, and you really can take off from that. And I felt like I maybe made them think a little bit more, try to bring examples, because I could talk to them like a mom, because my kids were there, similar ages, and that made me feel like I might be able to relate to them better, because I really did want them to learn about that. Third grade level is really a great level. They could read. That was great, because I didn't have to teach them. They could read, and when we would read, we'd stop and reevaluate what we had read, and that's one of the words I was thinking was fairness. That was a big deal in third grade, learning about sharing and being fair and being kind, and how would you feel. It can be, you never know what you're going to say that might make a difference to any person, but to a child, you might be able to, you don't know. You might have just changed their mind on something, or planted that seed where they realize they may think about it. That's right, she did say something about fairness, or about being kind, and that I just felt like sometimes I'd feel really good about it, and the kids seemed like their interest was piqued, and maybe that they were getting it a little bit better. But I think it was the age group. I really appreciated that, because they were real thinkers. I really enjoyed
What
that.
I like too about it is being able to share your faith with them. Of course, I got the bigger kids, like 8th graders, which I like a lot too, the confirmation class.
That's nice.
They're very good at it. June 3rd, 2016, you graduated as leadership of Ashtabula County. Tell us about it.
What a great year. What a great year. We began last year as just strangers. We went from strangers and quickly became friends, and then we became like family. And the education that I received, learning about our county, there's so much that's out there that we are not even aware of. And so many people that love what they do. So many people that love helping other people, and they just fired you up every time you went out. You'd feel this, oh my gosh, these people love what they're doing, and then you learn about how you could perhaps help another person in your community that doesn't know where to go for assistance, or maybe just doesn't know where to go to get great maple syrup. I mean, we learned about how little businesses have grown and how they survive, and how they employ and help other people and how they work as a family in each little unit. So the people that I was with, the 33, in addition to them becoming friends, we made friends every time we had a leadership day. We'd make new friends in all different areas because we didn't stay in just one spot. If we did stay in one spot, we'd have speakers come to us, and it was just fabulous. I couldn't say enough good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very privileged to be in that as well.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. We had a great year.
Yes. You recently came back. You were away for 10 days. I believe it was 10 days.
Well, 11, but that includes the trips, the travel time. You know.
Ireland.
Yes.
School trip.
No. Well,
No.
yes, it was a school St. John's trip,
Mm-hmm.
and my cousin is the principal there,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, you know, other adults can go if they'd like to go.
Who's
And so-
also been on our show.
Nick?
Nick's a great guy.
He is.
Yeah,
He's
he is a great guy.
sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. We decided that this would be a great idea, and as anxiety-filled as I have been, I thought, you know, you got to let go of that fear and have your faith. You don't. I was very fearful to do this.
Fear of flying, you mean?
Claustrophobia, being away from my family, leaving my doggies, leaving my grandkids.
Oh,
It was
yes.
a big thing, and my husband, I think he's really surprised that I was able to do it because he knows how fearful I was. I mean, I would tell him quietly, I'd say, oh, I get a little sick thinking about this because I don't know if I can do it. I don't want to, I don't know. And then I just decided, quit being fearful and do it. Just push yourself and do it. And I had
Good
a
for
really
you.
wonderful time. It was fabulous. Ireland, Wales, London, Paris.
Wow.
And Ireland was absolutely gorgeous. London, the people are they're very proper, but they're very nice. And Paris was beautiful, but a little stinky.
What were some of your highlights?
Um,
Start with Ireland.
Ireland, I loved actually the sheep herding demonstration they had. This little dog was awesome, and this young man had trained him, and it was great to see how he did his job. And they retire them like after 6 years. They're getting old because they have to do a lot of jumping and everything. And naturally, the churches there are beautiful. St. Patrick's Cathedral was beautiful, and the countryside was fabulous. And next in Wales was very similar to London. We just saw a lot of castles. We saw a lot of churches. We saw a lot of countryside and places that I didn't know of. I didn't do my history lesson on them, so I enjoyed the tour guide. The tour guide was fabulous. She kept us fast-paced. That was great because I didn't have time to get bored or time to get homesick. She made us go, 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 go.
So you were always with the group? You guys never
Yes.
separated?
Well, we might separate for a little bit of like an hour or two here or there,
Uh-huh.
and we'd go off and maybe do a little shopping or a little sightseeing on our own. But in London and in Paris, the one thing is we went to these tunnels, the tubes. We had to go down, down, down. I didn't think you could go that deep in the earth. I didn't think you could. And then these little hot, little fast-moving little trains under the earth, and I was afraid to get in those. I thought I would be claustrophobic, but we'd all get in as fast as we could because the doors closed, and we wanted to stay with our group. And when we get out, the tour guide said, "No, get against the wall." And we'd be against the wall. We'd all be standing there. It was very fun, though. But we all knew where our group was. And it's funny how the camaraderie built just like that. Everybody was concerned for making sure we were together because we were grouped with 3 other little school areas and just a full bus for the entire time, and it was really, really great.
How was the food?
I'm a vegetarian, so everybody envied my food. They had food envy all the time because sometimes they might have something they didn't like in the way of meat or something different, and I always had a great vegetarian meal. I don't think you can go wrong. So it was delicious.
Did you have some Irish coffee?
Yes, I did. I think that's the best way to start
Strong?
the day. Well, a couple of them were strong, but
I know that coffee in Italy is super strong.
Is it really?
Oh my gosh.
well, you know what they do? They have some machines though too. They have the espresso machines, like in one of the hotels we stayed at, and you can get a double espresso in your strong coffee. And I'm thinking, wow, that's one way to kickstart the day. So we did have that. It was just a really great time.
Favorite dessert?
They had something that was like an egg custard. It was really a thin little piece of custard on a plate. I don't know what it was, but it tasted like egg custard. It was really delicious. And they had something else that was, other people didn't like it, but I did. It was like a flan kind of. I'm not sure what that is, but it was like a burnt custard. I like custard, egg custard, and creme brulee, that kind of thing.
Did the 10 days go by quickly?
Yes, they did. I will say one thing, like the last couple days, we really crammed so much in. We went and saw the very end of Paris, overlooking the whole city, the panoramic view. We went to Old Paris, we climbed a hill. We were gone. We left like at 8:30 in the morning and we got home at 11:30 at night. We packed our bags, we took showers, and we got up at 4 in the morning to head out. So those last couple days, it was like I was ready to go home. I mean, I was thinking, yeah, I'm ready. But it was fabulous. It really was. And even the plane ride, I was shocked that I did all right. 9.5 hours coming home. And
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
good
great.
for you. And it was.
Thank you.
And you get to come home and see those lovely grandbabies.
Yes, I
and
have
your
one
dogs.
great and one great grandbaby now.
And one great grandbaby.
Mhm.
That's right.
So,
Well, Joni, this has been fun. Thanks for joining us here on Around the
Thank you.
Town with Chuck. Appreciated you coming.
thank
I
you.
mean, you just recently got home here a couple days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you took the time to be with us. So, Joan Norton, my guest today on Around the Town with Chuck. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.